What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In the last video, we were building the custom roof basket for the Hummer. The video started getting a little bit long, so I decided we would split it into two parts. And today we started cutting out the sunroof little portal, just a little access hole. And we're going to be doing all of the final steps to that over the next couple days. We'll get that welded in, and then we'll get the lights bolted up, and then we'll finally get it to the powder coating shop and get it put onto the truck. You can see where we've cut this hole out. Right now, Jeff is building a frame to go all the way around this, and what that's going to let us do is we'll put a hinge here, and that's going to let us flip it over, and that way it will lay totally flat on the top of the basket when it's all done. And we also got in our rough country pod lights. I picked these up because the off-road shop here in town said this was a pretty good kind of middle of the road light that's affordable but really high quality. It's like 3600 lumens. You can see up here, this is where these lights are going to go, and we've placed some riv nuts right here. That way when we're ready to bolt these on, we just slide these in place, bolt them on, and that'll still give us a little bit of flexibility to change the angle of the light and things like that. But this is really clean, kind of a hidden mounting point for that. So we have two of these. We're gonna have one on each corner, and then on the front we're going to have a 50-inch curved light bar.
There we go. Actually, looks pretty good.
Boom. All the way flat. That looks awesome. Yeah, that's looking really good. And these are almost level with the grate right here, and so they're not even really going to stick up and cause any problems. So this is the original grate that we cut off to make the hole, and now we're just tacking it back down. It still lines up really close and lays almost flush. We'll have to cut a little bit out for the hinges, but those are pretty low. They're almost flush, as close as they could get while still having a big strong hinge. We could have got a really small low profile one, but I always want to overkill stuff whenever I'm working on it. You almost can't even see that it's there. Everything lined up really good. At this point we have the basket mounted on top of the truck. It hasn't got powder coated yet, but we're basically done with everything that we're going to do ourselves. We still have to get some side panels made, but we did get the front light bar mocked up today, and we're also making some ladders today for the sides of the truck. But I'm going to take you up there and we're going to take a look at what we've done so far. It's very stable. The whole truck, look at that. The whole truck moves. If I just shake back and forth on here, we have 5 mounting points on either side. We've already driven it around some, and it's honestly not any louder, or not much louder than when we didn't have it up there. Here's our little hatch. And so whenever the sunroof opens, I can pop up and I can still access stuff up here, things of that nature. We still need to make a clip or some sort of a system to kind of hold this down to keep it from rattling whenever we're, on a bumpy road. But that worked out really good. And even the hinges, they're totally flush, so you don't get your feet on there or anything like that. There's our big 10-foot by 4-foot aluminum sheet that's going to be used for the side panels. And today we started on making our ladders for either side of the truck. Now, we debated whether we put them on the back where the hatch is at. We'd have to come up with some sort of a hinge system so that they open and close with the hatch. And I'm also going to put the tire carrier back on the back, which was going to limit how much room that we actually have. So we decided we would go over these side windows. So it's going to mount in a similar style that the roof basket does. And it's going to come down the side right in front of this glass, and it's going to mount on this pinch weld down here. It's way too flimsy right here, look at that. So we can't mount it to the side of this in any way. So that's what we're working on today. So here's where we're at with the ladders. We've curved 4 pieces of this steel tube, and these are curved almost exactly the same curvature of the side of the truck. I know it looks like a big box, but it's actually has a decent amount of curve to it. And so you can see we're gonna have a mounting point up there on a big piece of steel, and that's gonna bolt, like I said, into that slider that's OEM mounting system there. And then we'll have a pan down here where it bolts in, and it's gonna be out a couple inches away from the truck. And we decided we would have them spaced out 12 inches. That way you could have your foot sideways on them if you really needed it to be. Felt like that was probably a good distance between the bars. And we'll end up with 4 total points here. And so it'll be something about like that. The first step is actually gonna be the tire. And so it's pretty simple. You'll just grab the railing, or if you're a little bit taller than I am, which that's not hard to be a little taller than I am. But to get up, you'll just grab, pull yourself up, and you'll be on the tire. And we're gonna get some spacers. We're gonna space these wheels out a little bit more. Your first step will probably actually be about here where the second step is. That first step is gonna be really close to that switch. I'm not too worried about, but it is gonna be pretty close. So you'll have your first step here, and you'll just pull yourself up. Fast forward a few days, and we already got the ladders on. I wanted to have a few more clips of that, but they went together really quickly, and we have them bolted on the truck. I tested them out, and they're really stable. They're really solid, and they turned out exactly like we wanted them. Take a look at these. We have some thick steel brackets at the top with the same sort of bracket system that we're using for the rack itself. And so Jeff TIG welded these bolts to these pieces of steel. So these are bolted in the same way that the rack itself, the basket itself, is going to be bolted in. And it rained on me. I was out storm chasing the other day, and so got a little bit of rust, but these are going to get powder coated along with everything else. The bottoms are held in place just like we talked about. We have riv nuts in the pinch weld here, and then just some bolts that go into that there. So really simple setup, and it's very solid. And now today we got our side paneling in. So we're gonna wrap the sides in that's aluminum. Jeff is welding some brackets for the front because that's gonna be the hardest piece because it needs to be curved going around the front of that. So Jeff's welding up some steel brackets right now to the front, and that's what our centerpiece will end up bolting to. We tack down some strap metal here, and these are going to be our mounting points for the piece of aluminum using some riv nuts. So it's going to be on there really solid. But the piece of aluminum that we had cut is a little too short, so we're not going to be able to do it out of one piece. So we're going to cut 2 pieces. I'm going to bolt on the left side first, then we'll bolt on the right side. Then we'll trim it and weld it together and grind it down. It won't look perfect, but it'll look good enough. It's going to be like 10 feet off the ground, so I don't think anybody's going to be staring at it or care very much. And then on the corners, because we want our side panels to cover up all of this, we've done the same thing. These are just tacked on. They're not finished yet. But we have the strip metal right here, and so we'll have riv nuts on the side to hold that side panel on, and then on the front to hold the front. So they'll butt up nice and clean together, and then each have their own mounting points so that they're not flapping around in the wind or anything like that. An old kind of wind deflector thing roughly mounted on here. Like I said earlier, we had to cut it in 2 pieces because the longest piece that we had just wasn't going to work out. It was a little bit too short, and so what we've done here is we've roughly cut all of this and have it mounted up. Jeff is going to TIG weld the center of this together, and we might have to use 2 bolts on either side going down, but we have a whole inch to work with there, so that should be fine. But this is going to be the last hard thing that we do. We'll have to cut a hole out in it for the light bar once we get it all done and bolted in place. But man, that looks awesome. It's the same angle as the windshield, so hopefully that'll help with the aerodynamics a little bit. You know, the truck itself is already not aerodynamic, so that doesn't matter too much, but I didn't want this to create lots of noise or a lot of drag, and so hopefully the windshield will just deflect the air as it's supposed to, then hit this and just keep on going. So we'll see if we need to cut some holes in the side to alleviate some drag or something. We can do that at some point as well. But next up, we're going to get the center welded. We'll trim all of this, and then we'll start on the side panels. So I think in the next day or two, we'll have this wrapped up and off to the powder coating shop. So in the last few clips, you saw us kind of doing the final things to the basket. It's almost done. Today is actually the last day we're going to be working on it. We only have a few minor items to kind of touch up. I need to grind down some of the sharp edges on the hatch, and we're making one small change to one of the rear light pods. But overall, it's come together exactly the way that I want. If we were to do it all over again, there's probably a few little aspects I would change, but honestly, for a fun side project that me and a friend did, it's come together exactly like I wanted. It's very functional, it looks good, and I think it's just gonna be a great addition to the truck, especially for some of the overland camping and adventure photography trips that I like to do. And on that topic, I've been doing a little bit of work for this new adventure park that's about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of me. It's actually inside of Paladero Canyon, or it encompasses part of Paladero Canyon. It's not in the state park, but it's off on its own little area, and it looks incredible. It's really beautiful, and they want me to come out and experience the park. So as soon as this project is wrapped up and everything's on the truck, we'll take it out there and I'll make a little video of us just experiencing that new place. As far as the basket goes, like I said, it's going to the powder coating shop tomorrow, so hopefully it's done next week. As soon as it's back together and on the truck, I'll make an update video just showing the final product, showing the lights working, and just going over all the details and everything that I probably missed in this video. But I guess that about wraps up this video. Thanks for watching.